In this video, we're going to be looking at scientific notations, but with negative exponents. So if you remember last video, we looked at with positive exponents. So if I had 6.2 times 10 to the 3, that's like saying 6.2 times 1,000. Okay? Well, if I'm timesing by 1,000, that's like moving the decimal over 3 times, because that's like 6.2, and then this comes 0, 1, 2, and more zeros, so then I end up getting 6212 right there. So it's like adding 3 zeros in that direction. Well, let's think about this when we look at a number line. So here's my number line. This is 0. So if I said plus 3, because that's what my exponent was here, it's a positive 3, I move 3 zeros that way. 1, 2, 3. Now, what happens when I say negative 3? Because this is 10, this would be negative 10. If I said negative 3 on a number line counting, I move that way. So I'm going to have to move my zeros this way. Okay? So let's think of what that means. So let's say I had 6.2 times 10 to the negative 3. So in that case, that's like 3 zeros that way. So we have 1, 2, 3. So then my decimal is going to have to be over there. So I'm going to end up with 0.0062, and that's my answer. Okay? Let's try another one here. Let's try 5.45 times 10 to the negative 4. So that's to the negative 4. So if it was positive 4, I would put my zeros here. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then there's my decimal, right? And that's where it ends. Now it's going to be negative 4. So negative 4 is going to look like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Decimal. So we have 0.123. Oh, and the fourth one, there's a 5. And this will be my answer for 5.45 times 10 to the 4. All right, well, let's look at another one. Let's compare. Let's say I have 6.7 times 10 to the 2. And we're going to look at 6.7 times 10 to the negative 2. Well, times 10 to the 2, it's 1, 2 zeros. There's my decimal. So I get 670. All right, because it's like multiplying by 100. Now this here is 1, 2. It's going to be actually something like called dividing by 100. Okay, so in this case, I'm going to have, there's my decimal, 0 point, right? We have a 0. And there's the decimal. Then we're going to have 0. And the second one has a 6, 7. And that is the difference. So that is how we do negative exponents. So in the second part of this video, it's going to be a little bit of an extension. You do not have to watch this if you don't want to, but if you want to know more about why negative exponents, when we're talking scientific notation, are the way they are, please keep watching. So we're going to start build up at 10, right? Now one thing we have to know is anything to the power of 1 is 10. Well, we know 100 is the same thing as 10 times 10. Which is the same thing as 10 squared. I know 1,000 is equal to 10 times 10 times 10, which is 10 multiplied by itself 3 times. I know 10,000 is equal to 10 times 10 times 10 times 10, which is equal to 10 to the power of 4. Now, looking at this, every time we move up this way, we multiply by 10. And that means we add one exponent. Now, every time we go down, we subtract an exponent. What are we doing? So what's the opposite? Here, we're adding an exponent. The opposite is subtracting. What's the opposite of multiplying? We are dividing by 10. Okay? Now, let's continue this. So let's think about this here. If I go down, we minus 1 to my exponent, that's going to give me 10 to the power of 0. Well, what I must do here is divide by 10. Well, 10 divided by 10 is 1. Is 1, not 10. Now, if I want to go again, I'm going to minus 1 again. I'm going to get 10 to the negative 1. Well, what does that mean here? This means here I must divide by 10 again. That gives me 1 over 10. I want to keep these in fractions. Okay? Now, if I want to go down again, subtract 1 again, I'm going to get to the negative 2. That's going to be 1 over 10 times 10. But 1 over 10 times 10, 10 times 10 is 100, because I must divide by 10 again. It's going to be 1 over 100. Now I'm going to go again down. That's going to be 10 to the negative 3. Well, that means I must divide by 10 again. So I take this, divide by 10. So that's 1 over 10 times 10 times 10, which is the same thing as 1 divided by 1,000. Now if we compare these here, 1 over 1,000 is 10 to the negative 3. 1,000 is 10 to the 3. 1 over 100 is 10 squared. 100 is 10 squared. So essentially what we're doing is, when it's a negative, we're dividing by that big of a number. So we're dividing by the positive of this. So if I said 10 to the negative 6, that's like saying we're dividing by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we're dividing by 100,000. Okay? And that is why it works that way.